I think for me and probably everybody living in Britain and also Scotland in the last few years, there's been a sense of national identity becoming really politicised. A lot of my work is kind of, I guess, working through what is national identity, what are the things that we attach it to, and often these signifiers like flags are the only things that we can hang that identity on, because otherwise it kind of loses shape or loses form. I'm Terribly Sorry is the first work that I've made as a VR. The aspect of it where you're an active participant, there's a sort of video game feeling to that. I wanted the way that you interact with a VR to be something quite familiar, so everybody knows how to take a photograph with their smartphone and it's quite a familiar thing. There's also thinking about the kind of violence of photography and the idea of shooting a photograph, shooting film.
Excuse me, I'm terribly sorry to bother you. My phone died and I'm lost. This is awfully embarrassing, but you wouldn't happen to have any spare change, would you?
A lot of the reasons that Brexit happened are a result of us not understanding our own history and, for example, wanting to preserve British traditions like tea drinking without remembering that we got tea from China and India. I've always loved Ben's work, and I was so excited when Casino invited me to pick an artist I'd like to show, and I was immediately like, oh, Ben, because I first saw his work about 10 years ago on YouTube.
The title is Deep, Dark, Dank. Particularly I was interested in this dark side of the internet and the dark side of YouTube. So the theme of the exhibition really comes from my inspiration that looking at YouTubers throughout the years that had reacted to some of my earlier works, so particularly Henry Eats. So my latest work, the top 5 animation containers, is really about YouTube, and it's about, uses the format of a Watch Mojo style countdown video.
Number 4, Murty.
Murty is essentially a container that when you put something inside the Murty container, which is almost functions as like WinZip, you know, WinZip, which it squashes file size down. But Murty, it expands the file size, so it's an illogical aspect to it. So you put something inside this Murty container and then it doubles in size. Using the black light, it reminds me a lot of these like Laser Quest rooms and these strange spaces where you're separate from reality. Yeah, I really enjoyed creating the soundscape. And that was when it started to come together in my head. It's building this sound track, so the space has various sounds of like alleyways. It has dripping. It has distant cats meowing. What I'm most fascinated with is trying to find this subconscious, the layer underneath the everyday reality, which is quite interesting for me to explore, which goes back to the surrealists. It's a way of taking something familiar and then turning it into this uncanny, strange, awful thing.